If you're looking for NVIDIA technicals, you've come to the right place. I have NVIDIA stock price predictions with price targets. I actually have 6 of them for you, 3 to the upside, 3 to the downside for where we could possibly go leading up to earnings and maybe even post earnings for NVIDIA stock. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I'll put that up on the screen for you. I do just briefly want to go over SPY, QQQ, and IWM. If you haven't seen my previous 2 videos launching my new technical analyses that are out there, you should. It's highly worthwhile. And if you guys want to see what I'm buying and selling and also see these technicals before they hit YouTube, you can do that by finding that link down in the description for the Patreon. Click that, sign up. Head over to the Discord. That's also where I post my buys and sells as well as those technicals I was talking about. Talk with me and my community members. We'd love to have you over there. And then if you guys want to learn this technical analysis for yourself, there's a link for that too. We'll talk more about that later. In the meantime, SPY, watch today for this support at 550 to 551. We could most definitely find that. Right now, we're at 551.65 in the pre-market hours. We found out where a ceiling was. Now today, it's likely going to be looking for a floor. We got that rejection off of 553 yesterday. So if we find a floor at this level, we could come back and retest resistance if we're able to penetrate into that. And there's a lot of resistance that's up here. But if we're able to make into that, then we're heading off towards price target 2. That rejection, if that sends us back down through this 551, then we're starting to look down here at this 618 down here at about 546. So these price targets you see to the bottom of this is when we were on either side of this resistance yesterday that turned into support when we went up above it. Support, that's why it's in green. I'm going to leave these on here because if we sell down back below this, then these start to be activated. For right now, we're up in this price target area that's up here for 1, 2, 3. And if you want to see those time breakdowns, you can watch my last 2 videos. I talk more about that. So go ahead, check those things out. QQQ, watch this line right here for support. And that happens to be right at about 468, 470, right in there. So we'll call it 469, if you will. So watch that for support today. So we found resistance at the top of this. We're most likely going to see that rejection, find out where the floor is. And if we find out that the floor holds, then we're probably going to be back up here in this territory. If that floor falls through, well, then we have down here at about 464, up above that 474. If we can break that, we have a free float area up in there. Pretty darn clear way up to 487. So be on the lookout for that for the Qs. IWM got a rejection off its bullish channel. Again, go back and watch my video. It says I just wow on the thumbnail for that one, and it even says skip to the 14-minute part for the commentary on IWM. You can check that out and see exactly what I have to say there because I speak about it in full detail. I did update. Given yesterday's jump, I updated these lower price targets. So make sure that when you watch this video, that you pay attention that these are different price targets than what I had in the video that I put out. It was 2 videos ago. It was yesterday morning. Today is the 16th of August. So it was the 15th of August. And like I said, it was the AM video that I put out there. And the thumbnail says, I just wow. It says to skip to 14 minutes for the IWM commentary. But these white trend lines that you see diagonaling across the screen here, they are absolutely the bulk of the price action we get for this bullish channel. We just hit the top of that yesterday. We're retracing down a little bit today. I said in my video last night that would probably happen. And so what we're doing now is we're looking for that floor comes in. Watch for about 210. That's going to be about that number all the way down to 209 for that critical support. So if we find it at 210, if we find it at 209, that's going to be significant. We're probably going to retest to find out, okay, that floor held, where's the ceiling at? If that floor gives way, then we're down below that 206 starts to be activated. So that's what you want to watch for that. Now, for the meat and taters of this, Nvidia. So for Nvidia, I don't know that it takes on its previous 2 peaks that we saw prior to earnings. I'm going to put that right out there and up front. I think it's going to be something that's flirted with and it's going to toss us out with a fair amount of uncertainty as we get there. It's going to be that knife's edge, that coin flip scenario that we have. Are we going to hear that demand persists? Are we going to hear that their profit margins are continuing to be robust? We either need the same profit margin, especially in a forward guidance perspective. Any sign of compression there better be balanced by massive revenue. If it is not balanced by massive revenue and they get margin compression, Nvidia is going to tank. It's probably going to take the market with it, and it's probably going to signal market top for us. However, if Nvidia shows that they can contain consistent margins and that they're going to continue the revenue growth right along with it, which means same margin, more revenue growth means more money for them, means continued growth, same trajectory, I think that we're going to be in good shape. Accelerating would be in great shape. Accelerating for margin and also for revenue, which I think is going to be a pretty tough thing to do. I think that would put us up to 150 easy in that case, which I think is going to be a slim case, I think it's going to be more of a very positive status quo. I think is going to be our best case scenario that we have. I don't think that we see an acceleration, but if we do, it's good. I'm a long-term investor on Nvidia, very bullish on Nvidia. So the positions I haven't sold them as it dipped. I just added on to it and used some options along the way to get some more cash in order to keep on dumping into more Nvidia stock, along with some other ones. I like Tesla. I like some of the longer shot plays out there. I like SoFi. Just some examples of some of those things. But sticking with Nvidia for right now, let's say that there's revenue starting to contract. That's not great, even if the margins do hold out. But likely if there's a contraction in revenue, there's also going to be some sort of contraction in margin. Margin's probably going to take that hit first before revenue does, like we saw with SMCI. And that was a very troublesome thing for all the semiconductor plays that were out there before we had the carry trade with Japan and all that really tanked the markets, and then we saw things rip back up. So let me put up the chart with the technicals for Nvidia, just with some of that commentary in mind. So for Nvidia, where do we find ourselves here? Well, yesterday we actually broke through a critical support and it was selling down a little bit. We're going to probably retest that support today. Maybe you're watching this while the market's open. Maybe you get to see it before the market opens. I'll get this out as soon as I can. Hopefully it's prior to 9:30. It's 8:27 right now as I'm recording this video. So up above that, we have a price target of 125 to 130. I think that up to 133 is going to be our absolute maximum that we get prior to earnings. I think that the market would just, between now and about 2 weeks from now, it's actually 12 days because their earnings are on Wednesday the 28th in the after hours. The market would have to seriously push up and raise that floor in order to keep Nvidia going up to that 133. You can see the previous peaks that we had on here, one of which was, I can tell you exactly what it was. That peak during regular trading hours, 136. And then this peak here, regular trading hours, was 140, almost 141. So I think that 133 is going to be a very good maximum following a descending trajectory on this one. So where do we find ourselves prior to earnings? I'm going to say 125 to 133. These three price targets I think are going to be very solid for us with a high amount of resistance, especially up here at that 133. And I think it's going to be very, very difficult to break through that. I think it's more likely that we find ourselves, if the market's about where it is right now, if it kind of settles and doesn't really continue to rally up from where it's at right now over the next 12 days, I think we'll find ourselves near this critical support down here right around 120. But I think that before that, in between now and then, I think we're going to test the ceiling up here between 125 and 130. So I think there's some bullishness still ahead of us, still for Nvidia stock. I think there's going to be some caution that comes into it, leading us up to earnings. It's going to leave us. The price action will be at a place that it's going to make it really nervous for us to go long, and it's also going to make it kind of nail-biting to go short, and it's going to be probably one of the biggest coin flips, and I think that there's going to be some significant profit taking most likely. So if we come in high the days leading up to it, maybe we sell down like the day of or the day before that earnings comes in as people start to take that money off the table from the significant ramp that we've seen in Nvidia over time. Let me go out to the monthly chart, and it's going to be messy, by the way. Look at monthly chart. There we go. That significant rise that we have, that's going to be just kind of disgusting for us. There we go, leading up to earnings potentially. I think that we have that price rally and then maybe a little bit of softness, leaving us in sort of a limbo space, if you will. So we have, I think, maybe this coming up for us, that we have a nice little rainbow coming up where we find a ceiling and then we start coming in low as earnings comes along, and it's going to give us a big old question. So that can come in anywhere in between 120 and 133. So I think that really the prime place to find ourselves is right around 125. I was going to put a single price to it. I'd say that 125 is going to leave us in a decent amount of limbo for Nvidia stock leading up to those earnings. And I think, like I said, I think we have this sort of shape happening for us, a nice little arc coming in where we travel up a little bit longer. If the market continues to go that way, if we stay bullish for a little bit longer, I think that could happen. So a little bit more of a rally, then some hesitance, especially given the resistance to the upside of that. And then as earnings comes along, I think people are going to take money off the table. I think that's going to pull the price back down, leaving us at a critical line of support that we're going to have that coin flip scenario waiting for us. So just to pop this up here, just one more time to talk about the price targets that I have on here for you. To the downside of this, if we have any sort of slowing coming for us, it's probably going to be pretty drastic. And wow, I just realized these all say price target 1. Let me hit cancel on that one. Let's make this say price target 2 to the downside. There we go. Perfect. And sometimes copy and paste gets me down. This is one of those times I change the prices themselves, but not the numbers. There we go. So if there was a price target 4 on here, by the way, it would be where you find this previous low. That is going to be something I would say 88 to 90 would be where we'd find that ultimate low if we had some sort of like amazing contraction in revenue, margin compression going along with it. But like I said, I think the most likely thing that we're going to get for Nvidia, if we hear any sign of slowdown at all, I think it's going to hit the margin first, and then it's going to hit the revenue, and that would not necessarily set up a very pretty picture for AI. That'd be a pretty disgusting thing to see. So I think the most likely scenario, and I will put out my stock price prediction and earnings projection specifically prior to those earnings. It's something that I have very close on the plate to put out here. I wanted to ramp up my updated technicals and get those out to you guys. They seem to be working very well, and keep on putting those out. So keep on watching. We'll see just how dialed in they are, and really help to build more of that credibility in the skills that I have in that technical analysis. So when I'm right, then we know that that's a point in my favor. And when I'm drastically wrong, we know that's a point against me. And I'll let you guys keep that scorecard on that one. So for Nvidia, like I said, I'll put out that stock price prediction and earnings projection prior to that earnings coming out. It's something that I'm very excited to get out there. If you guys want to learn to do technical analysis the way that I do, there is a link for that down in the description. Make sure that when you sign up, use the code word DOCTOR, DOCTOR. It's down in the description as well, so you can see it as the reminder for that coupon code. And that I'll tell you what, it's got a trading strategy in there that Stockmo, it refers to as the bread recipe, and I stand by it. It's absolutely wonderful, simple, easy to set up, easy to follow, and I got to tell you, I wouldn't endorse it if I didn't believe in it myself, if I didn't use it myself. And then I also have a chapter in there on options as well. If you're kind of interested in finding out what options are all about, that's a nice little introduction to options. And I hear that there's a lot more courses on the horizon. That's Stockmo's deal. If you are a fan of his, or if you haven't checked him out, you absolutely should. And guys, as always, if you want to see my buys and sells, you want to be part of my community, want these technicals before they hit YouTube, they're available at the Discord through the Patreon. That link's down in the description. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you think about any of these prices, whether it's the indices, the ETFs that track them that I talked about earlier, SPY, QQQ, or IWM. Let me know your predictions that are out there. And then also, or just, maybe thank you for the technicals. I always love to hear the positive words of encouragement. That's always great to hear. And if there's other things you want, feel free to talk about that as well. Stop and say hi. And then also for Nvidia, if you're a huge fan of Nvidia and you're really curious about Nvidia, there's more that you want to know, more that you want to see, absolutely let me know about Nvidia in the comments as well. Thanks guys for watching. And remember those links down in the description. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. And we'll see you in the next video.